How you doing, sir? How are you?
All right.
What's your name, sir?
My name's John. I run the office here at Winfield Rod and Custom.
Okay, and where are we? Where are we here right now?
We are right here. We're right outside Gene's museum. We're about ready to go in, take a look around, show you a little bit of history behind Gene and some of the things. In here, you got kind of your mom and pop's parts store. You got belts, hoses, points, plugs, condensers, diagnostic equipment. So you roll into the little middle of nowhere gas station and can get serviced up real good. Um, like I was telling you outside, he originally started off in a chicken coop in his mom's backyard. Here a few years back, a gentleman actually bought the physical building that Gene had started in and relocated it in Modesto. So and they're actually having it dedicated as a historical monument for what Gene's done for the hot rod and custom car scene. In the process of the relocation, the gentleman cut out the original fuse panel that Gene used back in 1946 when he first built his chicken shack. So yeah, that's the actual fuse panel that he was using 70 years ago.
Wow,
Yep,
a lot of history.
a lot of history.
How long has Gene been in business?
He's been doing this for about 70 years.
7 years.
Yep.
Wow. And I see a lot of awards, a lot of recognition.
Oh yeah, you'll see a whole bunch more here in a minute.
Thank you.
Come on in. Give me just a second. Let me kick on a couple of lights here.
Yes, sir.
All right. So in here, this is a kind of his hobby room, I would call it. You got a lot of toys and collectibles. Gene's kind of really into toys and collectibles. A lot of people give him cool stuff. Back in the day, this is actually my favorite section right here. This is from Gene's history when he worked with a model car company called AMT. He used to build full-size cars, and then AMT would build model kits based off of those full-size cars. So you have things like Mercury Hard Top customized by Gene Winfield.
Wow.
AMT here a few years back fired up another division called Round 2, where they go back and they look at all the old kits and they figure out which ones are still popular and then they reproduce them. Well, this is one of the old kits that they used to build. This is the Gene's moving van. You can see Gene's moving van right there. It's got his picture on the box. AMT decided to re-release that kit, and they released it in what's called the original artwork series. So you've got the actual kit with all the original box art. Inside there's a lithograph that's the full size of the box. So we did that with them, and then a little while later, they decided they wanted to release another one of Gene's cars, which was the Super Spy car, which is because of licensing, they couldn't call it the Man from U.N.C.L.E. car, so they called it the Super Spy car. But that's the same car as the Man from U.N.C.L.E., which Gene also built.
Okay. Wow.
We are also working with them on another model kit right now for the Galileo shuttlecraft, which I'll get into here in a little bit because he's got a little bit of history with that too. This rack of just some cool posters and pictures, concept drawings of some of the cars, pictures. That's Gene Specifica, which we have on site here. Artwork that friends have done to give to him, things like that.
Wow.
That's some of Gene's race friends right there. We actually have an entire room dedicated to that. That's a car that he did in Australia. It's another artist rendition of the Pacifica. That's Maybelline right there. That's a 60 Cadillac 2-door with a 61 4-door roof grafted to it. That's some signed piece of artwork from Back to the Future 2. As I told you, Gene had 8 cars in Back to the Future 2, including the fiberglass DeLorean. There's another picture with more signatures from Back to the Future 2. There's a cool picture of Gene pounding away on a car.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a bunch of different cool stuff in here. There's Gene with Linda Vaughn and George Barris, Tony Wood. That's from a photo shoot we did for Maxim, Germany. That there is a bunch of Gene's buddies from Galpin Auto Sports. So on and so forth. So there's a lot of kind of stuff like that laying around. Over here, this is not all but just some of the magazines that Gene's been in, and we have them kind of laid in here in chronological order, exactly. And so as you flip through here, now these are all articles on Gene, but as you flip through here, you can slowly start to see the change in styles of cars as time progressed.
Yes.
You know, so and like I said, this is only a small portion. I could probably fill 3 of these racks with articles and stuff that he's been in. Yep.
Yeah, you can tell that. No, he does. And is this one of the most famous, the Pacifica?
No. Actually, his most famous car is called the Jade Idol. Mm-hmm. That's the one that actually pretty much started him as a customizer. He built that car. It was so radical when he did it. He actually spent an entire year running around doing nothing but collecting trophies.
Wow.
Yep. Because of when and where Gene grew up, he had to have himself a little soda shop. So we built a soda shop here. A lot of vintage stuff, vintage cash registers. The shake mixer down there, the one that's the green shake mixer right there. That's actually from Gene's mom's kitchen from back in the late 20s, early 30s.
Wow.
Yeah. Tabletop music selectors, things like that. A lot of signed artwork around here. Like this is Candy Clark. Candy Clark from American Graffiti. She played Debbie in American Graffiti. Gene and Candy are very close.
Okay. Yeah, this is amazing.
So off over here, another one of his little collectibles. This is from the very first A&W root beer that was in the United States.
Huh.
A&W originally started out in Canada. The very first A&W in the United States was Northern California. When they finally closed it down, Gene wound up snagging one of the little order points from it. So that's the history behind that.
Wow.
Over here, this is a nice, cool piece of neon that was built for Gene by his buddy Bruce Suba, who does really nice neon work. Real crazy stuff. You'll notice in here, whole bunches of Hot Wheels. Well, if you'll take a look at it, almost all of them are the same car. It's a car called the Tail Dragger. Okay, the Tail Dragger was Gene had built this car for a guy, and the guy was actually approached by Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels said, "Hey, we want to do a Hot Wheel of your car." So the guy signed off on it, and not only did they do, I think that's the original. Yeah, that's the first one right there. That's the original series. Not only did they just do that, they went on to produce. Our last count is about somewhere in the order of about 58 different paint schemes and packaging schemes. Wow. So Gene has started a nice little collection of all of the different kinds of the Tail Dragger that they have produced. So those are all different versions of a car that Gene has done.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow. And this is the one that you have.
Yeah, that's the one we just saw in the shop here not a little while ago. Like I said, the reactor. Seeing how you're recording, I'll go ahead and spiel that out again. The reactor has been in multiple TV and movies. It was in an episode of Bewitched called The Supercar, episode of Star Trek. It was they put whiskers and a tail on it. It was Catwoman's car in the original Batman TV series, and it was also parked in the street on Back to the Future 2, amongst 7 other cars that he did for that particular movie.
And you said that Gene started that kind of paint effect.
Yes.
What is the paint effect called?
It's a faded blend.
Faded blend.
Mm-hmm.
And did he start it with this car, or
No,
it was
no.
It was okay.
No. Started probably right around the time that he did the Jade Idol, but I'd have to ask him about that just to be absolutely sure.
Okay, perfect.
So down over here, before we go through this door, give you a little bit of history. Gene, amongst Gene's other TV and movie ventures, he built the original shuttlecraft called the Galileo for Star Trek. So as you can see, the doors mimic that of the Galileo shuttlecraft.
Yes.
Not too long ago, here a couple of years back, Gene was heading out to Dallas after the restoration on the Galileo had been done. That's actually kind of a funny story too. The lady that owned the Galileo had let I think it was 3 separate restoration attempts on the Galileo because it had just been in disrepair for so long that she would let like the fans try and restore it. There were 3 separate attempts done. All 3 of them failed. Finally, I guess she just got sick of all the Trekkies jumping the fence to take pictures and stuff like that. So she put it up for auction. It sold, and it was bought by a prop company down in Los Angeles. Well, the prop company knew who built it, and they contacted us for the restoration. We quoted them out on it, and they were like, "That's way out of our budget. We can't handle that. So what should we do, Mr. Winfield?" And so Gene, being the guy he is, he said, "Well, it's primarily a wood type structure. So I would take it to a boat builder. Boat builders should be able to help you out." So they did. Took it to a boat builder. The boat builder built it up. Did an excellent job on the restoration of the shuttlecraft. The funny part was it was going down on the East Coast right as Hurricane Sandy was slamming the East Coast. So these guys were wrapping this up right as they got water practically lapping at their doorsteps. So everything went off without a hitch. And instead of these guys using it and making money off of it, they did what I think is probably the most awesome thing in the world. They donated it to the the NASA Space Center in Houston. So it's on permanent display out there. Although I do believe it did a little time at the Smithsonian also. So Gene's had a piece in the Smithsonian. One time Gene was heading down to Houston and said, "Hey, I'd like to go and see my shuttlecraft." So here, little office guy me has a chance to call NASA. NASA took my phone call, amazingly enough. So I talked to a gentleman over there named Jack Moore, and Jack Moore was very excited that Gene wanted to come out and see it. So they did a complete unveiling of the shuttlecraft just for Gene, and they brought in some custom cars to show his ties from both TVs and movie into the hot rod and custom car scene. Go ahead and head on in now.
Give me one moment.